Meghan Markle's first husband has revealed the surprising reason he ended their marriage, leaving many people shocked.
And another Daily Mail TV exclusive, too posh to push. Meghan Markle made her first husband agree to a pregnancy contract to make sure that she was afforded every possible luxury if she gave birth to their child.
Meghan Markle's ex-husband has spoken out for the first time in nearly a decade, sharing his own perspective on why their marriage fell apart. He claims that their relationship suffered from growing emotional distance and other personal issues, including what he says were conversations about infertility and Meghan's long-term goals, even mentioning Prince Harry on her vision board. His comments have shifted the public conversation and raised questions that were never previously discussed within royal circles.
She'd always had an interest in the royal family.
The chances of meeting the Queen are pretty slim.
Oh, the irony. That's a 15-year-old Meghan Markle on a bus tour in London in 1996.
For nearly a decade, Trevor Engelson, Meghan Markle's ex-husband, chose to remain silent. He moved on with his life, built a new family, and established a successful career in Hollywood, never using his past marriage for attention or sympathy. He stayed outside the narrative, allowing the world to accept the story as it was publicly presented. But silence doesn't last forever. According to those close to him, Trevor began to feel that only one version of events had been shared, Meghan's, while his own experiences remained unheard. His family, who had witnessed the relationship from the beginning, had long carried their own concerns about the dynamic. Concerns they reportedly tried to voice quietly, long before the marriage fell apart. Observers often noted one detail: the subtle distance between Meghan and Trevor's family. While she won over the public, his parents and sister remained cautious, their reactions reserved. People wondered whether they were simply private or if something else was at play. Now, insiders suggest that Trevor's family may have sensed early mismatches, a performative quality, a difference between the idealized image and the reality they perceived. To them, it wasn't about a lack of love for their son. It was about protecting him. They believed they saw signs of a relationship that was more carefully constructed than it appeared, long before the fairy tale began to fracture. Their distance wasn't a rejection of Trevor's happiness, it was a quiet warning he wasn't ready to confront. His decision to finally share his perspective, even privately, marks a significant shift. It isn't about revenge, it's about reclaiming a version of events he feels has been lost. To him, and those around him, it's like the final witness stepping forward to say that the widely accepted narrative, the one of a young actress experiencing a simple early heartbreak before meeting her prince, leaves important pieces out. Meghan and Trevor's story began like many Hollywood relationships. They met in 2006, spent 6 years building a life together, got engaged in 2010, and celebrated a joyful 4-day wedding in Jamaica in 2011. From the outside, it looked like a perfect match, yet the marriage lasted only 2 years. Publicly, the explanation was irreconcilable differences, often linked to the strain of long distance, while Meghan filmed Suits in Toronto and Trevor worked in Los Angeles. But people close to Trevor have shared a more personal account of the challenges they say existed behind the scenes. According to them, Meghan allegedly raised the idea of a pregnancy-related agreement early in their marriage. They also claim she confided that having children might not be possible. For many couples, such a conversation is life-altering, something that leads to shared grief, medical exploration, and a reimagined future. Those around Trevor say he accepted this without hesitation. He loved her deeply, adjusted his own expectations about fatherhood, and committed to building a life based on what he believed was their shared reality. He never questioned her and never used that sensitive moment against her. Years later, when the public learned that Meghan, now the Duchess of Sussex, was expecting her first child with Prince Harry, the news reportedly hit Trevor on a very personal level. What he had once treated as a private truth and built his marriage around appeared, at least from his perspective, to be contradicted. For him, it wasn't tabloid drama, it was an emotional shock, reopening a painful chapter he had long tried to move past. The confusion came first, followed by a deep personal hurt. It wasn't about jealousy or resentment toward Meghan's new life. It was about the integrity of the life they had once shared. That moment became, for Trevor, the first major fracture in how he understood their relationship. It made him revisit their years together and question what he had believed, sacrificed, or accepted that perhaps wasn't as he thought. The polite explanation of irreconcilable differences suddenly felt like it concealed a more painful, irreconcilable truth. And unlike many marriages that end with difficult conversations or emotional confrontations, Trevor Engelson's marriage to Meghan Markle ended in a stark, almost unnerving silence. After nearly a decade as a couple, from their 20s into their 30s, he received no final discussion, no clarity, no opportunity for closure. According to those close to him, the marriage didn't end with words. It ended with a package. Delivered to his door was Meghan's wedding ring, without a note, without an explanation, without any message at all. The gesture, they say, was more devastating than any argument could have been. It was a silent, one-sided conclusion. It signaled not just that the marriage was over, but that its ending had been decided without him, a final decision delivered like a transaction rather than a mutual farewell. The emotional distance and subtle imbalance that Trevor's family had sensed early on finally crystallized into a painful, undeniable reality. A source close to him later described the turmoil he faced, telling The Sun that the breakup hit Trevor pretty hard. According to that source, he struggled deeply during the divorce, and things became even more difficult once Meghan began her relationship with Prince Harry, a moment that forced him to relive everything a second time, now under global scrutiny. The split, they said, wasn't especially amicable, and both sides carried hurt feelings. Their divorce was finalized in August 2013, and Meghan met Prince Harry in July 2016. During those intervening years, Trevor had already begun the slow, private process of moving forward. But when Meghan's new relationship became an international phenomenon, his past heartbreak was suddenly thrust onto the world stage. The quiet pain of receiving her wedding ring in the mail was now compounded by the public spectacle of an entirely new love story taking its place. According to those familiar with Trevor's inner circle, this was the point where his understanding of his entire relationship began to fracture. They claim that years after the divorce, Trevor allegedly learned from people connected to Meghan's past social circle about a vision board she had made long before meeting Prince Harry, a detail that, to him, raised new and unsettling questions about the relationship he once believed in. According to people who spoke with Trevor years later, the vision board he allegedly heard about wasn't simply a collection of vague hopes or career dreams. They claim it was more detailed, almost like a mapped-out plan. At its center, they say, was a photograph of Prince Harry. To those who shared this story with Trevor, it suggested not a youthful fantasy, but a deliberate aspiration. They believed it showed that Meghan had followed the royal family closely and had imagined a future in that world, with Harry as the focal point of that vision. For Trevor, this alleged revelation became a painful lens through which he re-examined moments of emotional distance in their marriage. What he had once interpreted as temporary strain or normal challenges now felt, in his view, like a gradual shift away from the life they were building together. To him, it raised unsettling questions about whether those changes had been part of a broader personal path she was pursuing. Some insiders have gone further, suggesting that Meghan's preparation continued into her first meeting with Harry. Reports claim she wore a perfume associated with Princess Diana, a scent deeply tied to Harry's memories and emotions. To Harry, it may have felt like a comforting, almost faded connection. But to those who believe Meghan had researched the royal family in depth, the choice was viewed as intentional, a way of establishing an immediate emotional resonance. Together, these accounts, all from unnamed sources and observers, paint a perspective of the relationship as something shaped not purely by chance, but by careful planning. However, these interpretations reflect the beliefs of those around Trevor, not confirmed facts. The vision board wasn't a collage of vague dreams. It was a roadmap. Every image, every note, every symbol pointed toward a single destination. And at its center was a photograph of a foreign prince, not a fantasy, but a target. From the perfume she wore to the life she quietly detached from, every choice was part of that deliberate path. For Daniel Armitage, this revelation was shattering. It meant realizing that the woman he married, Elena Hart, had already begun planning a life far beyond the world they shared, long before she returned the wedding ring. To Daniel, these pieces finally completed a haunting puzzle. He saw a pattern stretching back years, a calm, calculated drift away from their marriage, followed by a silent, packaged ending. And with that came a devastating question. If Elena's courtship with Prince Alastair was truly this carefully orchestrated, what had her intentions been during their own marriage? Had their relationship been nothing more than a placeholder until her true ambitions aligned across an ocean? The effect of these revelations did not explode like a scandal. Instead, they seeped through the palace corridors as a slow, disorienting collapse. Prince Alastair, a man who had defended Elena against every critic, did not react with anger. According to those close to him, he responded with something far heavier: confusion. The prince who once blamed the press, the monarchy, and even his own family for every hardship now found himself quietly re-examining the story he had believed so fiercely. He began replaying old conversations, reconsidering past choices, and facing the possibility that his unwavering trust had been carefully, strategically cultivated. His reported remark, "Stop blaming the court for everything," was not a political statement. It was a quiet signal of exhaustion and the first crack of profound doubt. Sources close to Daniel suggest that what he has revealed so far is only the beginning. They describe his initial account as merely the surface, the visible tip of a much deeper and far more unsettling archive of truth. According to those who know him well, Daniel possesses private letters, documents, and long-buried memories that he has kept locked away for years, out of a lingering sense of decency, or simply to protect his own peace. But insiders claim that Elena's alleged attempts to pressure him into silence, through legal posturing, social pressure, and carefully placed messages, may be the very spark that finally breaks his decade-long restraint. The effort to quiet him may become the reason he speaks. The world has already heard Elena's side. They've watched Prince Alastair defend her at every turn. They've witnessed the palace's quiet, strategic handling of public scrutiny. But Daniel, the first husband, the man left behind with nothing but a returned ring and unanswered questions, still holds the key to the prologue of this entire global fairy tale. And he may now be ready to open that door. So what do you think? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to check out our other stories for even more twists, revelations, and drama. Until next time, goodbye.